Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Quantum Spirituality right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I am your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest, repeat guest, this is his third time here with me, is Stephen Hawley Martin. And we're going to be talking about his new book, Mastery. He's written, I don't know, is this number 13, Martin?
Oh
Stephen,
gosh, I don't know. I lost track.
yeah, I mean, I've got 13 books here on your show page, but prolific writer, and he writes about things that really open us up and help us dive into our own spirituality. He says the culture you were raised in is likely obscure to your true identity, not just from others, but from you as well. This book will explain who and what you truly are deep inside and set forth a simple process to make the most of the now odds of your hidden potential. If you're willing to take the time and expend the effort to read or listen to this book, you will not only learn why you're here on earth, you'll discover the path to create a successful life you may have only dreamed until now. In short, if you want meaning and fulfillment, this book will show you a clear and direct way to achieve it. Now, we've talked about his other books that on our shows. The last one was Fast Track and Higher, and we've talked about a few others here. So I do invite you to go back and listen to all the other shows. His books are always about helping us find ourselves from the inside out. And that's really where we are meant to be living, folks, from the inside out. And it's really wonderful to kind of have that direction there, but a kind of a no-nonsense approach to things. He's a former marketing executive and consultant and author of more than 36 books, including 5 published novels, half a dozen business management titles, and quite a few self-help books and metaphysical investigations. He's a former principal of the world-renowned advertising agency, the Martin Agency, the firm that created the Geico Getco, and Virginia is for lovers. So Stephen is an editor of the publishing of Oakley Press, listed in Who's Who in America, and the best-known award-winning author. He's also a 3-time winner of the Writer's Digest Book Award, and having won twice for fiction, once for nonfiction, he's also won the first prize for visionary fiction from independent publisher. So he's, this guy's the legit author and knows what he's doing here. And it's always about that question that people are asking: who am I? What's life all about? And how do I fit in? And I think that's where people very often are kind of lost and flapping in the wind, because they follow the expectation of life, the norms, so to speak, paint by numbers, and then find out that they're not fulfilled, they're not connected, and life doesn't mean much to them. So welcome back to the show, Stephen.
Well, thank you, Sarah. That was quite an introduction you gave me. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. And I said our third time here, so on the third book that where we've been discussing, but it's always about that self-discovery, isn't it?
It really is. I think that our culture is such that, well, we're taught in school, at least the schools I went to, that there's nothing but matter. There's no spiritual realm. There's,
Yep.
you're your body,
Yeah.
and you ought
Yeah.
to you ought to grow up and make the most of life by going out and making a lot of money and buying a big house and a fancy car and all of that sort of thing. And then once you do that, you find out that is that all there is? Kind of
Yeah.
like that song by Peggy Lee. And that to me is what I'm trying to get across, particularly in this book, that you are not your body. You
Hmm.
are a spiritual being who's having a temporary physical experience. You're here on earth in this incarnation, like every other incarnation you've probably had since practically the beginning of time,
Hmm.
to evolve and grow and to use your spiritual gifts, you've accumulated over many lifetimes to help others. And if you can figure out a way to use what I call your dharma, which is your special gift that sets you apart, that makes you really unique. If you can figure out a way to use that to help others in some way, that's how you'll find fulfillment. Whether you are able to take a job or pursue a career in using it, or use it as a part-time thing and make enough money to put a roof over your head. But if you can use that gift to make others' lives better, you're going to feel fulfilled. And I believe that's how you achieve mastery. You don't achieve it by making a lot of money, becoming a billionaire. You achieve it by using what you have to give in a way that makes the world a better place. So there you go.
And how you make the world a better place is you yourself rising up to a higher frequency, rising up to a higher energy level, rising up to the beautiful energy of love, self-love, love of life, love of others, love of what you're doing, because that particular frequency, you cannot do harm to others without harming yourself. And you understand in that collective, anything is possible because it's done in that basis of love. But in order to get there are steps that we need to take. And that means we need to deprogram all the expectations and dictations that are being given to us throughout our entire lives. And that for some people is like, but how? How do I break away from that? The fact that you're actually asking the question, how, is the first step, isn't it?
It definitely is. And I lay out some things in this new book, recommendations that I hope people will find useful and perhaps follow, because have been programmed since birth based on the family you were born into, the culture you were born into. You have beliefs and uh, opinions that you aren't even aware of, that are buried in your subconscious mind, but are working to create your reality. And the only way to change your reality and rise to that higher frequency is to get at those beliefs and shoo them away. And I think uh, one of the things that I do, for example, and have done over many years, is when I feel myself reacting to something that's happened, perhaps in a negative way, instead of lashing out or uh, responding to it, I try to take that moment that
Mm,
exists between stimulus and response to stop and think, why am I reacting this way?
mm,
And maybe that will help get to the root of a belief that is not helping me get where I'd like to go. And so that's just one thing. I have a way for people to help get rid of fears that they have. That there's something like 6 basic fears that have been identified by psychologists and psychiatrists: fear of poverty, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, these kinds of things. And I have put on my website a meditation that I created quite some time ago that I used on myself,
mm,
that has the intention is to deprogram your subconscious mind from having those particular 6 fears. And
mm.
people are interested in that. It's shmartin.com/autosuggestion will take you to that page. So there you go, Sarah.
And there goes the start. But I think also it's understanding, what are we doing with our finger? We're busy pointing it. It's society, it's government, it's corporation, it's everything else. They're doing this to me, right? And there's 3 fingers pointing back at us, but what's your accountability? What's your action? What are you going to do about it? And I think that people that are truly wanting to grow, truly are wanting to immerse themselves in this wonderful realm of spirituality, are going, okay, I've got to stop blaming my life on everyone else. And I need to start taking some accountability. No blame, no shame for what I have done, because what I did was, under the doctrine of what I've been taught. But I now have free will and choice to choose something different. And in choosing something different, I've also got to realize I need to deprogram everything that I've learned that does not serve me or allow me to serve others. And that can be quite painful at times for people to go through that. So we need that help that helps us face those things and go, okay, this isn't a bashing of self, but this is just a realization. Oh my God, I didn't realize I did that for so long and how negative it was. Right. And it's understanding, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I think that's the journey to your own opening up to your own heart and soul, is looking at the things to let go of so that you can open your heart and soul to the things that will truly serve you.
Well, I think that's absolutely right and well said. And and I believe, and I think it's absolutely true, that each person is where they are today. You, me, and
Mm.
everybody listening or watching is where they are based on the decisions that they've made, maybe unconsciously, over the period of their lives.
Yeah.
And anyone who has a victim mentality, and that's what you're talking about when you're blaming others,
Yeah.
you're a victim,
Yeah.
uh, is going to remain a victim
Yes.
until
Yes.
they get over that and say, I'm in charge of my life. The decisions
Hmm.
I make are what are going to change the future. I'm going to have to get rid of that idea that others are attacking me, because it's going to continue to happen as long as I believe it will happen. Because,
Exactly, because that's the aura that you're on. That's
right,
the vibe that you're on. You're an open door to victimization because you've opened up that energy field. And when we choose to work on ourselves and embrace our heart, soul, and spirit and rise up to a higher frequency, the victimizers aren't going to be able to touch us because we're too higher up in our frequency for them to reach us. They're going to go after the people that are still in victimization mode. So we owe it to ourselves to go, no more. I'm taking charge of my life. And that means I'm going to be opening up my soul wisdom, opening up my heart love, opening up my spirit exploration, and being willing to take that journey. And as you do, you rise up in your frequency.
absolutely. And another way that I look at it, frequency, it's absolutely, you attract others of that same frequency who
Yeah.
are going to be on a higher level. But also, we're all part of one mind. We think we're separate individuals because we have an ego that was built up since birth, that has memories and has,
Hmm.
I'm an advertising guy, or I'm an author, or I'm this,
Hmm.
or I'm that. But the truth is that we all share the same consciousness. We're
Hmm.
all part of this one great mind, and we're actually the eyes and ears of that mind. And what we
Hmm.
think into it,
Yeah.
what we vibrate into it, is what comes back to us. So
Hmm.
those things that we fear happen because we have that belief that
Hmm.
they could happen, they will happen. So, what you're saying is absolutely correct, and I hope that anybody who hasn't already realized that will realize that when they watch this show.
There's a certain amount of fear that is necessary, common sense fear. Right? Don't walk in front of a bus. Don't put your hand in the fire. Don't walk down a dark alley in the middle of the night. There's certain things that listen to the Harrys on the back and your instinct that this is wrong and don't put yourself in danger. But if we take the common sense fear along with, instead of the fear of the unknown, but wonderment of the unknown, where you're willing to explore what is not known and take common sense fear with you, then the common sense fear would keep you out of trouble while you're busy exploring all the beautiful wonderments of life.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Yeah, they say that really there are only two fears that we're born with, and that's the fear of instinctive fears. That it's the fear of heights, being might
I
throw
can
people
fall. Yeah.
out, and the fear of loud noises. I guess that comes from lightning striking back when we were cave people. But the other fears are acquired, and I think the idea of common sense, obviously, you don't step in front of a bus, you don't
Put your hand in the fire.
put your head in the fire. Uh, is right. And but there's, if you fear the loss of love, for example, you're going to be jealous, and that
Yeah.
jealousy is going to create a situation where you actually might lose, or the person that you feel jealous because they are interested in someone else, or whatever reason. You're actually going creating that situation with your actions and your beliefs and your fear of the loss of love. So yeah,
I mean, they say we are what we eat, we are what we think, right? And it's I think if we could get out of just thoughts, we've been conditioned for the last 100 years that the brain and the thoughts are everything. And we've forgotten about the intellect of our soul, our heart, and our spirit, even our body, because our body is constantly speaking to us when we're ignoring it because we're stuck up here from the chin up. Right? And if we can get out of our thoughts and realize that's data, how does this data serve us? It serves us from the soul wisdom, which becomes your compass of which road to go down, your heart recognition of it, your spirit action, and then the clarity that the mind knows when it needs to know it. And that's the wisdom of what to do with the knowledge, rather than having all of this knowledge and the next thing you know, you've talked yourself out of everything.
well, that's right. I think that some people do get so caught up in their thoughts, they start to think that they are their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, what they need to do is to become present, is to step back and observe those thoughts, and actually make a decision. Is this thought that I'm having helping me? you
Yeah.
know, and you can do that because you're not your thoughts, you're not your ego. You are that, what I call the impartial observer, that at the back of your mind, that you can come to, if you realize that part of you is there. You can live from that part, and that's what I try to do with as much as possible. Obviously there are times when I get caught up in my thoughts, but less and less as I get older, and realize that I'm not my thoughts, that I'm not my
Yeah.
ego.
And is this thought serving me?
Yeah,
Have I got caught on an old treadmill or an old pattern, or is this thought being productive? Or is it being calming? Is it serving me? Because if the thought isn't serving you, then it really is of no use.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
Mastering, it's funny because next year we're producing another book, Mastering Your Self-Discovery. From Wisdom from Renowned Coaches is another anthology, but it is mastering your self-discovery in a way of understanding what is your gift, right? How can you use this gift? Whom can benefit from this gift? How do you go about sharing this gift? And every single person has a gift to give. And the two things, don't compete with your gift, don't compare your gift. It's your gift to give, and you were given it for a reason to use in a way that benefits the collective, the whole. And it's once we embrace whatever that gift is and put it into action, not only are we very much immersed in what we're doing and love what we're doing. And I say, if you do it for free, then you know you're doing the right thing, right? Doesn't mean you have to do it for free, but it means that you've found something you love to do. If it's benefiting other people by enhancing their own lives, then that's the contribution, that's the gift that you're sharing. And that generates such passion to get up every day and contribute to life. But we need to find what that gift is. And it isn't a gift of societal expectation. It's a gift that comes from the heart.
you're absolutely right. And one of the things I do in this new book, Mastery, is suggest that each of us take time, take 8 hours, go to the library on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon or whenever you have the time. Leave your computer in the car, leave your phone in the car, take a legal pad and some pencils or a pen, and uh, start writing down, what do I like to do? Why?
Mm.
And basically the really ultimate question is, what is it that I've done when I was a child or
Hmm.
a teenager or whenever, that put me so much in the zone that I
Hmm.
lost track of time? And whatever that activity was, is pointing to the Dharma. We've been talking about the
Yeah.
gift that if you can figure out then how to use that activity to help others, whether you make money at it or not, that is what's going to lead to the sense of purpose and fulfillment that we all seek, that we all want.
Yeah. Exactly. It reminds me of somebody I interviewed some years ago, and she'd been in advertising, but as a child, she used to write stories all the time, right? And then she was in advertising. She was caught in a traffic jam one day, bumper to bumper, and a story started coming out, and she didn't have enough paper, so she was writing on her arms, you know, and now she's this prolific children's writer of numerous books and everything else that's come out of it, because she reignited her passion. Well, it's not a waste of time because everything that she learned through advertising and everything she learned about structure and this and that, she now could apply to her passion, which allowed her passion to have such a bigger impact on the world. So it doesn't matter what age we are when we, discover our Dharma, discover our gift. But as long as we immerse ourselves into it, and, I'm very much about looking at our children and seeing what it is they're passionate about, the zoning out of everything else and really immersing themselves into and nurturing that. They may change their minds. I want to be a plumber today. I want to be a rocket scientist tomorrow. That's okay because they're in exploration. But there's a fundamental, something that they do, something that they play at, something that they're good at, that is the core essence of who they are. Let's help them in that discovery, become that, and not have to take a different route and then discover 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and change direction.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. For myself, I've always liked to write, and that's in the advertising business, which
Mm-hmm.
I spent most of my career
Yeah.
life in the advertising business. That's what I did. But at one point, it was quite a while ago, I just realized that even though I like the exercise of writing about insurance or soap or whatever is not as
Wasn't
gratifying.
quite such a turn on.
What I did then was I started getting up an hour early. I got up at 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock, and from 6 to 7, I would sit at my computer. It was an old one of the first desktop computers, and I would write for an hour. And I started writing a novel. And after about a year, I actually had a novel written. I probably wrote a page a day, but doing it every day, in a year, you've got over 300 pages. And
Yes.
that book got published. And I really did that on the side during my career in advertising until finally about 10 years ago, I stopped doing the advertising business and went into publishing and editing and ghostwriting and writing books. So it wasn't something that I made a living at for
Yep.
most of my life, but now I'm able to do it full time, and I like getting up on Monday morning and going to the
Yeah.
library, taking my laptop and writing. So yeah, I think anybody who can take the time to figure out what it is, what their gift is going to eventually figure out how to use it in a way that makes them feel fulfilled.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, the journey of life. And yes, let's face it, there's going to be difficult times. Change can be uncomfortable, right? But it's the butterfly doesn't become the butterfly without going through the metamorphosis of the caterpillar, and so we've got to understand that it may be uncomfortable, but really what you're doing is taking things off, layers that have been glued to you for so long, right, that aren't yours. And then when you take them off layer by layer and you start immersing yourself into something that, as you said, you greet the Monday morning with, I'm looking forward to this, then you realize I've been carrying this extra weight for so long. And I didn't realize it was bogging me down. And when we're willing to take those layers off and immerse ourselves into something that brings us joy, it lightens us up. It lightens up everything about us.
Life is difficult. I mean,
Mm,
anyone who thinks it isn't I don't know where they've been, but
La
it's
La Land.
well, but it's I think it's difficult for a reason.
Hmm.
One of my beliefs is that one of the big purposes of being here on Earth in this skin is to evolve.
Yes.
And just think about it. Life has been evolving on planet Earth. What do scientists say? Something like 3.9 billion years or whatever.
Hmm.
And that's why we come here. It's a difficult place, but whatever comes at us,
Hmm.
rather than run from it, we need to face it and overcome it. And once
Yeah.
we do, anybody who's been through a difficult situation, faced it, and gotten through it, knows when they came out on the other side that they were a better person
Yeah.
because of it. They have evolved somewhat. It's the hero's journey of
Hmm.
leaving your home space, your ordinary world, and fighting the dragon or going into the belly of the whale, all of those cliches, and coming out of it just like Dorothy did when she went to the land of Oz from Kansas,
Hmm.
and she came back to the farm. She realized that there's no place like home. She learned
Exactly.
something
Hmm.
from that journey to that strange different world where she had to face the wicked witch and so on. So that's really what life is about, I think, in terms of we're evolving, and we have really made it when we figured out what our gift is and we're
Hmm.
using it to help others.
I've interviewed some people who have really gone through life just horrific, just awful things. And you wouldn't blame them if they kind of curled up and died, because things that have happened to them should never happen to any living being, never mind a human being. Yet they, at some point, chose not to be the victim. They chose to go through the healing. And now they can talk about what happened to them because it's no longer a connection to them. It happened to them, but what they became because of it was their choice. And who they are today, they're such an illumination. They're so strong. They found their meaningful purpose and they're here to serve other people. And they're not still in trauma. They're not still, in the victim mode. They're not still in pain. They acknowledge that happened to me, but who I am today because of it
That's
is the gift of who I am.
Yeah, you made me think of a gentleman that I recently ghost wrote a book for. He had a terrible case of cancer where we had to have a tumor removed that was 8 pounds.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
wrapped
That's like
around his
carrying a baby.
yeah, it was wrapped around his spine and his
Oh,
uh, pelvics, and because of the operation he lost one leg, but he came through it.
mm,
The doctors didn't think he would survive. They gave him
mhm.
a very slim chance of surviving, but he survived. And then, because of the pain, he became addicted to opioids that were given
Mhm.
to him, prescribed to him for the pain, mainly fentanyl, but some others too. And when he realized that he was addicted to opioids, he also realized that eventually that would kill him because it has an
Yes.
effect on your brain.
Yes. Yes.
And so he figured out a way to uh, get himself off of those addictions by reducing the dosages, and he actually invented a device that enabled him to do this, reducing the dosages. It took him 14 months, but he was able to get off of the opioids, and now he has gotten that device in front of the FDA,
Mm.
and he's hoping to be able to get it out to the world because of the opioid crisis that we have,
Oh, and it's
all over the
big.
world.
It's
And
big.
and so and not but my point is that he went through a horrific thing.
Yeah,
He came out of the end of it a better person, and now he's got this gift that he's
exactly.
going to give to the world. It's
Exactly.
a fantastic story. The name of the book is Self Cured Addict, and it's on Amazon if anybody's
I'd
interested.
love to interview him actually, so please send him my way. So,
I will. I
uh,
will.
I have interviewed quite a few people on that where, they were all put on opioids for something that happened to them, an operation or accident or something, and they all became addicted. And, one of them ending up with a gun and, just like, how did I get here? How did I get here? And it's like they never ever thought this is who they would be, but the opioid and the addiction of it, really. And that's the thing. I have another genre, the nature of addictions. Um, we look at addictions as being maybe alcohol and drugs, but there's addiction being the workaholic, the sexholic, the victimholic. The addiction is when something is being repeated all of the time, but it's negative. It's negative to you and it's negative to everyone else. And people don't realize actually that some of their patterns are addictive. And they're so caught up in that addictive nature of what they're doing that they have no idea that they're addicted. And I think this is, sometimes you've got to face the mirror and you've got to have that hard talk and you've got to own it because until you own it, you can't change it.
That's correct. And he went through that stage as well. He didn't realize he was addicted really until
Yeah.
he happened to turn on the television, and there was a C-SPAN presentation. I guess it was about the opioid
Hmm.
crisis, and it was like they were talking to him. He realized,
Yeah.
came to
Yeah.
the realization, "Uh-oh, I'm
Yeah.
addicted."
Yeah.
And yeah, that changed. That once he bought into it and realized it, then he went to work to figure out how to get out of it, and he did.
The word that comes to there, he faced it and he found the courage to change it. And it does sometimes require courage, just like the Wizard of Oz, the lion
Right.
finding the courage. Well, the courage is always inside of you, right? It is that willingness to go, look, this isn't serving me. This is a detriment to me. I need to change it. That's courage. Then you're finding the strength and actually to do it. So that courage and that strength is in the action of wanting to change.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. It's in Alcoholics Anonymous. I guess that's the thing. The person has to hit the bottom, I guess, and
Yeah,
realize, they'll keep be in denial until, and as long as they're in denial, it's not good. They can't overcome it.
right. And,
And
and and I think
also,
for so many people it is hitting that bottom and it is kind of understanding what is your bottom? How far down do you have to go? I always call about the cosmic two by four. You get a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, which are the signs along the way. Don't you think it's time to change? Don't you think this is not serving you? Look, I'm showing you a different path. And then you're not paying attention, and on comes the cosmic two by four, flattens you and go, have I got your attention now? And the
right.
universe will do that to us, over and over again until we get it. So let's try and get it the first time. So because otherwise, boing, 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 your head can get a bit dizzy. But, that's the whole point of it. If you have bottomed out, if you have ended up on your backside, so to speak, don't have despair. That's just showing you there's only one way you can go, up.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of us keep the same problem keeps coming at us,
Yeah.
maybe in a different guise, and it'll keep coming at us until we face it and overcome it. I think that's the point that you're making.
Hmm.
And it's all that part of that evolution. It's that problem is coming to you because it's something you need to face and deal with. It makes me think of that movie. I don't, what's it called? Um, Groundhog Day, where
Yes.
same,
Yeah.
the same thing kept coming at that guy until he finally handled the situations right, and then he
Right.
would move on to the next day, to
Yeah.
February 3rd.
It's going to keep happening to you until you're willing to face it. Now,
Mhm.
you talk about reincarnation in the book as well. And, from my comprehension and my experience, is we carry past life stuff with us. We have ancestral DNA, right, inside of us that we repeat, and we don't realize this is a pattern of the family. We have past life patterns. And sometimes we go, but I just don't understand. why this keeps coming up. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm not doing anything, but the same pattern comes up. And my theory is that if you die with unresolved issues, those issues carried over for the next soul to deal with. What do you feel on that?
Well, I think that's absolutely true. The psychic Edgar Casey, are you aware of Edgar Casey?
Hmm.
Edgar Casey lived between 1877 and 1945, and for about 25 years, he would put himself into a trance twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and answer people's questions
Hmm.
about mostly health issues.
Hmm.
But he found what happened during that, at least a couple of thousand of the 14,000 readings that he gave, people were suffering from uh, phobias or
Hmm.
even physical problems that came from a prior life.
Yes.
And when he started reporting that, of course, he was in a trance. He didn't know what he was
Hmm.
saying consciously. Everything was taken down by a stenographer, though. And when he started reading that he was talking about reincarnation, here was a guy who was a very devout Christian. He belonged to the Presbyterian Church. He was a Sunday school teacher. He stopped giving those interviews for a while, and he read the Bible, and he realized that it's all through there, but they
Yeah.
just call it reincarnation.
Yeah.
Like people said that Jesus was Elijah. Well, Elijah lived 400 years before
Mm.
Jesus. So if he was Elijah, he had to be the reincarnation, things like that. But anyway, the point is, yes, it's absolutely true. And now there are people around who do past life regressions
Hmm.
for that reason, to find out what the problem is that keeps recurring, where it comes from, and what was his name? Brian Weiss, psychiatrist, wrote a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, where he was surprised when one of his patients, when he regressed her to, he thought was going to be a child when something happened to her to cause her phobias. She went to a past life. He said, when did this problem first occur? She went to a past life that happened 300, 3,000, 3,500 years ago.
Yes. Been carrying it from one lifetime to the other.
That's,
This actually is
yeah,
what my daughter had a phobia of. She was just a little one, but she could not sleep in the dark, could not sleep even with the light on, couldn't sleep alone. I'd find her in my bed all the time. And she was about 4 or 5, and I took her to a past life regressionist. And I was in the room, and it was very, very interesting because they hypnotized her and they took her back. And it turns out that on 3 occasions in 3 different lifetimes, she'd been abandoned in the dark, either in a tunnel or somewhere, and left alone. And that's what she was afraid of. So the dark represented abandonment to her. And we managed to say to her when she's in a trance, okay, this is not her. That this is past life. You're not alone. You are safe now. You have people around you that will never abandon you. And when she came out of that, she had no understanding at her age of really what had happened. But she started sleeping in her room with her light on, no longer coming into me. And it didn't take an awful long time before the light went off and she was fine. And so I really know that past life is that I think an awful lot of people that are repetitive on patterns is that let's look at that pattern because it's deeper rooted in other lifetimes or,
yeah.
ancestral DNA that doesn't really belong to you, but you're carrying it.
Reminds me of a story from a friend of mine. He's a lawyer now, head of a law firm. But when he was 16 years old, he was having some problems with girlfriends and so forth. Won't go into a lot of detail, but he was lying in his bed at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, perhaps, and thinking about wishing he had never been born.
Right.
Uh, Suddenly, it was like he was ripped out of his body, taken up in, he thought, into the air. He could look down and see the curvature of the earth. And then everything went dark, and something that looked like a string of twinkly Christmas lights came at
Mhm.
him and kind of surrounded him. And he said, "Who are you?" And said, "We long story short, we are your guides and we brought you here for a reason. And he said, well, why did you bring me here? He said, we want you to know that your life is your own. You
Mhm.
can do with your life whatever you want and you won't be judged. And he
Yeah.
said, well, my life's my own, so what? Said, and if you want to end your life, you can end your life and you won't be judged.
Mm.
He said, you mean there won't be any consequences? And they said, oh, we didn't say there wouldn't be consequences. He
There's
said,
always consequences.
but what, you'll just be wasting time.
Exactly,
He
because you've
said,
got to repeat this all over again. Yeah.
right. And that's what they told him. They said, if you do that, you'll just have to come back again and
Mm.
face the same sort of situation
Mm.
until you get through it. And anyway, he went back into his body and he forgot about the girl or whatever it was that was bothering him. And now he's probably 70 years old and he's a happy man. But yeah, that was where he had apparently committed suicide a number of times to get out of a situation. And of course, it didn't get him out of it at all. He
Exactly.
come back
Well,
and
I mean, that's the thing, though, is that there is no escape. I do believe that those that do commit suicide, I would say that 98% of them didn't intend to die. They just wanted to, get out of the pain and the anguish. And I'm sure on the other side go, whoops, what did I do?
yeah,
But I didn't mean to do that. And, and for some people, it's just, I need to exit this earth. And I cannot do this, but you are going to come back again, and you're going to come back again until you have stepped in to your soul, your heart, your spirit, your essence, your beingness, and rise up to that higher vibration, that higher dimension, that higher frequency, and then truly understand what the purpose is of you being here in the first place. There's no escape.
absolutely. That's right. That's right. Face the difficulties, do your best, get through them, and learn from them. And that's
Hmm.
key.
And my struggle always was of actually being a human because I was a very sickly child, so left alone a great deal with white walls around me. Um, no, I wasn't in a nut house. I was just in a bedroom where there was no color. That's why I have color around me all the time now. I was very sickly, so it would be 2 or 3 weeks at a time in bed before I could get up, and other than going mad, and I'm a child, not really, reading level, no TVs or computers back then, folks, because I'm nearly 70, so no, we didn't have that, not even a radio. So I would dimensional travel. I would go somewhere else in another world and live there. And I've done that my whole life, where I just off I go into a different dimension. And very often it becomes a blur of, was that this world or was that another world? But it took me a long time to actually embrace being a human, because I just looked at humans as being so unkind to each other, so cruel to each other. All the pain that we go through is pain that we inflict on each other. And I didn't understand it. And then this trying to be what everybody wanted you to be, bending into a pretzel, do you like me now? Am I serving you now? And then to realize you've completely lost yourself along the way. And it was only when I got to that point of truly embracing the spirit of who I am and understanding how it works with the body, with the matter, that I could actually become one and understand what I'm here to do. So everything I do is from a spiritual basis, right? But the body is the matter that is the tool in which way I do it.
Right. Do you feel that we're going through a time of change where we're moving from what is it, third density to fourth density, or from Pisces to Aquarius? I mean, what is
I
your
I think that we're already, the third dimension, um, which I call, kind of the piranha dimension, is the people that it's everybody else's fault, the hate, the loathing, the greed, the opulence. And there was a bridge that you get onto the fourth, heading for the fifth. And if you weren't on the fourth by a certain time period, that bridge was going to break away. And I believe the bridge has broken away. And those that are on the fourth are in the learning to rise up, to get to the fifth dimension. But I think there are so many other people that are in the sixth, seventh, and eighth dimension now, which would be much easier to get because we don't have that third dimensional heavy weight pulling down on us.
Mhm. So you think we're there?
I think we are on our way. I don't think we're there because they think we've got an awful lot of protests, wars, political, um, greed and opulence. But what we are doing is waking up and standing up against that. And more humanity is stepping up to know where is the love?
Right.
Where is the kindness? Where is the consideration? Where is the compassion? And realizing that is the answer, and that there is so much more to us as a humanoid, and that we are a human being. We are an essence in a human body, and that the more we embrace that, the higher the level we're going to go. So I would say we're on our way, despite what we see on the news and debates. We see what the problem is, but so many people are going, I just can't be a part of that anymore. I have to move away from it because it's sucking the life out of me.
Yeah, I agree. It is. I think the chaos that we see around us is a manifestation of the fact that we
Yeah,
are going through this
yeah, yeah,
time
yeah.
change, this period. It's a great time to be alive, really, if you see what's happening, what's going on.
Well, I
It's
mean, as a spiritual person and who is a seer and worked with the knowingness, I give people knowledge that they needed to know, and they go, "How do you know that?" I don't know. It just came through me, and I'm a child. I have no idea what I've just said to them. I just, that they had to hear it, and so it was hard at some stage because the judgment. Oh,
mhm,
you kind of fear of the white coats, right? Because um, back in the 70s, we were in that awakening stage, and it was a good time to be that. Then we went into the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, where then it went to opulence. I want more, I want more, I want more to make me happy, and realize I'm more and more miserable
right.
in that realm. And now we're swinging back again. But those particular decades were very difficult for me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't looked at it that way, but the '70s were a better time, as I recall, even though
Yes.
we had some difficulties. But I don't know. It.
I think it was the awakening. It was the awakening for so many people where we were realizing there was so much more than just being the human, and that there was so much more we're capable of as human beings when we put the being to the human, that we're here to achieve so much more. And then really, as corny as it is, it's all based in love.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what it's all about.
It
That's,
is, and I don't care, how cynical people are. We have to break through that cynicism and go that, that's again back to, if you're so cynical, you're kind of still in victim mode because now you don't believe anything,
right.
right? And so when you choose not to be so cynical and be more optimistic and see possibilities, is accepting there is stuff you don't know. So how can you be cynical about what you don't know? Take the journey of knowledge, of wisdom to find out what it is you need to know and how to apply it.
Yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Yeah.
My motto here on these shows: listen, learn, and apply. There's always something that you listen to that you've learned. Now apply it in some form, in some way. So, this is what your book is doing. You're helping people read, feel, and apply. Because for all those people that are still on the fourth dimensional bridge, it's like, I'm feeling something. I know there's something more, but I don't know how. I don't know what to do. How do I step into mastery of my own essence? And this is, more and more people like yourself that are willing to share that and write about it and give that, not you must do it this way, but to show them the tools that they can apply to themselves so they can open up and explore all those beautiful possibilities.
Well said. Very well said. Yeah, I agree. Thank
So,
you.
how do people get hold of not only this book, but all of your books? How do people reach you?
Well, I have a website. It's shmartin.com. And my most popular books are on the home page. But if you go up to the menu, you'll see my business books, and my fiction and nonfiction. Click on the fiction and nonfiction, and you'll see a whole bunch of books I've written. Some of them about life after death, or some of them about novels. The one that you talked about that won the Writer's Digest Award, things like that. They were all there, shmartin.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can use the contact form on that website. Send me an email. I'll answer it. Might take me a day or so, but I will do that. And I hope people will visit and tell me what they think.
And of course, if they go to Amazon, Stephen Hawley, Hawley Martin, Martin, they'll see all of your books there. Just go click on author, and you will see all of his books there. And also oakleypress.com. All
Yes,
right.
if you have a book that you need help with, either editing or even ghostwriting, you can contact me either through my website or through the Oakley Press website, and I'd be happy to do a Zoom call with you and see what you need. Maybe I can help.
And you want to maybe start a chat on LinkedIn with him, Stephen Hawley, Stephen, Hawley, Hawley, Martin, Martin. And maybe you just want to kind of reach out. You like to follow him because of what he's doing and, connect and make a chat there. It's all about interaction, isn't it? It's all
Yes,
about participation. Nothing's going to happen if you don't participate in your own life and you don't interact with those that have got the solution for you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for giving me all that information, Sarah.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for coming back again and sharing. I know we'll have you again down the road with the next book. I don't know how you managed to write so fast and everything else. For me, it took forever, but that's again your gift, right? Your
It is.
dharma, and sharing that wisdom. And again, it isn't, there are suggestions that you show people to apply, but we are going to apply it in a way that we comprehend or that's suitable to us. And it's one step at a time. The biggest leap you'll take is the first step. The first step in understanding there's so much more to me than where I'm at, and I want to make that self-discovery. And how do I do it? And here are the books that are going to help you on your way. And they can reach out to you if they're needing any kind of support or want to question the book or anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So to everyone out there, please awaken, embrace your beautiful essence. You are the solution to the world's problems, because the higher you are in your beautiful essence and frequency, the more we live in a higher plane of love, compassion, and consideration. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.